Well, good morning, lovely ladies and gentlemen. Steve Collins coming at you from cloudy San Antonio, Texas, the second most powerful, passionate, purposeful coach and speaker in the world. And here we are on day number 3 of the Man Up series. Man Up series. Why is it called the Man Up series? Because these videos are intended specifically for men. Most women tend to be significantly more intuitive when it comes to relationships. Specifically a relationship between a man and a woman in a marriage. This is what I'm speaking towards today. So today's subject is very simple. Mouth closed, legs closed, danger zone. Let me talk to you about what I mean when I say that. If you are easy to offend, you might want to turn off your video right now so that I can spare you from having to repent later for judging me. Mouth closed, legs closed, danger zone. What do I mean by this? Nugget number 3 today. So I'm going to give you the physiology of relationships and a significant, how can I put this? A significant secret that for the last several thousand years has not been revealed because medical science has not had the tools or the technology to be able to discover what God in His wisdom has had hidden for years. And it's simply this. There is a chemical in men and women's body called oxytocin. Now, oxytocin is a very, very powerful chemical that does something very, very powerful to the human body when it is poured out over the brain. And let me tell you what oxytocin basically is. It is a bonding chemical. You guys have heard of how baby wolves, when they're born, whatever they see, they tend to imprint on. They see it, they lock in, there's a bond. You've seen it with little ducklings. Little ducklings, they see a mama, they lock in on mama, visually, they bond. Oxytocin has this effect in human relationships. And here's the big aha. Oxytocin, this bonding agent, flows about 100 times more heavy in women than it does in men. About 100 times more heavy in women than it does in men. And it is released on the brain at the highest levels in females when they are conversing, talking. They say the average woman will have 22,000 words a day, the average guy 6,000. That is primarily because when women are communicating and talking back and forth, oxytocin is being released, connection is happening, relationships are forming, and bonding takes place. This bonding agent is the reason why women who don't talk are typically not connected. Women who do talk to one another, more often than not, especially if it's deep and gets emotional, tend to bond. And that is why, for the most part, ladies, unlike men, ladies, for the most part, tend to determine and gather their sense of value and worth from the quality of their relationships. You do not see women showing up to a bunko night or a Tupperware party or a powerful businesswoman's association where they go, hey, Margie, so what do you do? So what do you do? Typically, ladies are communicating about more important stuff, like, how is your family? Do you have children? How long have you been married? That is fantastic. There's relationship. Oxytocin is released. It's a bonding agent creating a bond in relationships. It happens 100 times greater in proportion than oxytocin is released in men, except for one time. There is one time in men where oxytocin is released at the same level of women communicating with other women. At that high level, only one time. And guess when that is? Oh yes. Did you just say, I think it happens when the guy ejaculates? Well, then you're right. Correct, Bob. Tell them what they won. When a man, what? oxytocin is released in his brain at the level, now that 100-time level, that it releases in women's brain normally when they're connecting through relationship. What does that mean? If women connect in relationship with this release of oxytocin chemical so that they bond with one another and connect and feel tightly connected, and men it does not release, and women it's 100 times higher, except when men reach orgasm. When men ejaculate, oxytocin is released in those same massive quantities as when women are communicating together. Why? Take a guess. The good Lord's wise beyond measure. A guy in a committed covenant relationship will have a bonding connection. Now, if a guy's just dating someone, or he's one night standing someone, and he's just out to get that physical need met, what does the guy want to do immediately so that bonding doesn't take place? Gotta go, gotta get up early tomorrow. See you later. Hasta la vista. I'm gone. Boom, bye. And woman's left behind like, what? Guy ain't gonna let that bonding happen. Mouth closed, legs closed, danger zone in a marriage. Without knowing this physiology, what happens in a marriage when men and women start fighting and arguing and getting upset with one another, and they want to make each other pay? They want to make each other pay. You're going to hurt like I'm hurting. The first thing that women will do is close las piernas. For those of you that don't know Spanish, the legs shut. Sorry to offend you. I love everybody. Legs shut. No more for you, buddy. What does the man do? Mouth shut. I ain't talking to you. Think about that. The very thing that causes the man to feel bonded to his wife, she shuts off. The very thing that causes a woman to feel connected to her husband, he shuts off, without even any knowledge of the physiology. Mouth closed, legs closed, danger zone. So how do we remedy this? And what is my nugget for the men today in the Man Up series? Brother, I have some good news and some bad news for you. The good news is there's hope. The bad news is you're going to be working on it for the rest of your life to live with your wife in an understanding way. You will never figure her out the way you figure out an 8-cylinder engine with a Holley 4-barrel carburetor. You will never figure it out like building something with wood and a hammer and nails. You will never figure it out like mastering something in your craft, because people, or they're organic, they're changing constantly varied. The woman I am married to today is not the woman that I married when she was 20 years old. She's 43 today. We have 7 kids today. Every time we had a kid, Angela changed, and so did I. You will constantly be putting effort and energy and work into that relationship. And so, ladies, if there are ladies that need to hear this, share this with your friends. Share this with the guys so they have some understanding. Oxytocin released at these ridiculously high levels is the bonding agent that connects. Without even knowing that, when there's a fight, legs shut, you don't get it, he doesn't have a chance to bond with you. Ladies, guys, I ain't talking to you, I'm shutting up. You don't get a chance to bond with him. You guys don't even realize the physiology behind it. And yet that's what's happening. So what happens if mouth is shut long enough, legs are shut long enough? Guess what? Woo! Danger, Will Robinson, danger. You guys are going to split apart. And then guess what happens? There's crazy women out there, ladies, that actually think your husband's pretty cool. That because, you know, they don't live with them, they don't have the history, they don't have the experience, they don't have all the crap that you guys have been through that has bonded and forged you together in a rich relationship of good and scary experiences. They don't know that. They just think, wow, he's so amazing, he's so cool. No, he's not. He's a dude. All of us dudes need a lot of help. Nothing super cool about us guys, really, at all, unless we get a few things right on a consistent basis. Then at least we could be somewhat consistent, all right? So, yeah, there's that. But there's a woman out there that I guarantee you is more than happy to allow him to release oxytocins and create a bond. Men, if you shut your mouth for long enough, I guarantee you there are men who will lend a sympathetic ear to your wife and listen to them and hear them and communicate with them, allowing them to release their oxytocin and create a bond. That is why you see so many marriages falling apart, because the lack of this understanding. But Steve, but I ain't going to open my legs to him. He's such a jackass. I agree, honey, he is. And you know, I do. I get that. Well, but I ain't going to talk to her because all she does is, you know, all she does is cuss me out and you know, make me feel like crap and make me feel terrible. I ain't going to talk to her. Shoot, I ain't going to say to her. I get it, dude. So what I just described in those last two scenarios, your real feelings, sorry, that's called immaturity. Yeah, immaturity, that's what it's called. So, you know, if you want to be immature, you get to live an immature life, and you will have the consequences of immaturity. If you choose to mature and accept responsibility, then you will make a decision that, I think what I'll do in this season is I will sacrifice my needs in order to meet their needs for a season, trusting that what I sow, I will reap. Trusting that if I sow long enough and don't quit and don't give up and give out of my own need to my spouse and am kind and am loving when they don't deserve it, something in their heart will be touched and changed ultimately, and I will see a result. If you're waiting for the other party to behave before you open your mouth or legs, if you're waiting for the other party to get it right before you connect with one another in the way that men and women connect, if you're waiting for the other party to change before you change, well, you're going to be probably a divorce. And you're probably going to, if not divorced, be angrily living together as amicable roommates, maybe, and you'll be living a shell of the life that God has intended for you to live if you'll just grow up a little bit. Choose to put your needs on the back burner for a season so that you can serve the person you chose. And that, whose finger you put a ring on. Man up, grow up, woman up, suck it up, buttercup. It's going to be hard before it gets easy. It's going to be tough before it gets a little better. And it's going to be challenging. My charge to you today, men, women, take it before the good Lord and ask Him for the grace to do what you are called to do as the responsible person in your marriage relationship. If you don't fight for it, baby, ain't nobody else going to fight for it for you. You guys have a great day.